Okay, so now we've done our research, we've brainstormed, we've picked our topic. So, where do we go from here? Well, the first thing I did is I took some photos. So, for the first year students that are doing the social media template as well as the poster, I want you to take your own original picture. So, depending on the topic, it could be just of yourself, a friend, a family member, a pet, could be anything. But you can also use Google Images. Okay. Now, for example, I've decided to pick bullying. Okay, and I just took some pictures against my green screen back here, and they're, as you can see, they're here in the folder. So I made some, angry faces. I took a bunch because I'm not really sure, you know, what I'm going to exactly do with them. And you can see here, I know they look probably a little goofy, but I took them from a couple different angles, and I'll explain why I'm doing that. Now, if you go and you look at the social media template, okay? So if we jump over here real quick and we go to the template that I've given you, and this is for the assignment for the first year students, go to the marketing campaign and scroll all the way down here. You're going to do two things. Remember, you're asked to do a social media template and you're asked to do a poster. So let's take a look here. We'll take a look at the template and you'll see, check out the sizes. You're going to put one here, 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 here. So it's actually 6 pictures. And you may be able to get away with taking one picture and cropping it a few different ways to make it all fit. Obviously, these two are the same. It's square. For Instagram, this is slightly larger, but if you notice, this is a bigger rectangle and these two are longer cropped ones. Now, why do I do that? Well, let's jump back to here. Now, if you've ever been on a website or a phone app or your computer, there are many different advertisement sizes that graphic designers have to use. Whether it's the top here, what we call a leaderboard, it's actually pretty neat. You'll see the names on here: leaderboard, full banner, half page, and this all relates to online. So anything really socially or on a computer, tablet, phone. So someone may ask you to do a campaign, but they need it in a couple different sizes. So you have to be super aware that you may take one awesome picture as a square, but how's it going to look, 728 by 90 pixels wide? It may not work. So that's why I always encourage you to take more pictures than you think you're going to need. Okay. So we're going to save this. When you open up the template and save it on the computer, all you have to do is go save image as. You right click on it or option click or control click, whatever you want to call it. You go to your desktop and then it's this long goofy set of numbers, but you can just call it social template and just save it to your desktop. I actually made a folder called bullying, so I'm going to save it in there. Okay, so now there's my pictures, and now I'm saving my template there. Okay, so let's move on. So where is the bullying taking place? Is it at home, or is it at school? I decided to pick school. So let's say, well, I don't have access to the school at night, or I don't like the school that I'm at that doesn't have the pictures that I want. So this is where I'm allowing you to use Google. So you can use it to complement your images. So you can go here and do, for example, do school hallway. So let's just try that real quick. And then you go to images. Okay. Now don't forget, this is important. You click here on tools and you go to size and then you go large. That's real important to remember because you want the biggest image possible. You may take this beautiful picture with your smartphone or your camera, but if you use a small, low quality picture off the internet, it's going to look all fuzzy. It's not going to look right. So as I kind of scroll down here, is there really anything jumping out at me? Yeah, there's some great pictures here. Or is the person being bullied in front of people? I would think that for my idea, it's one-on-one, like the bully and then the person. So I don't want a hallway full of people. So as I scroll down, I take a look, see if there's anything that really kind of catches my interest. Um, there's some cool stuff. There's a dark, kind of a scary looking hallway there. So there's so much stuff here. So let's say out of all that searching that I did, I'm going to do, let's do something a little bit more of a quote unquote normal hallway. Okay. So let's say I want to go with this blue here, the blue lockers. Okay. So, and then you'll have even more to choose from here too. But let's say, let's do this one. This one's a little bit more close up. So I'm going to click on that and see where it takes me. Okay. So here's the picture right here. And I'm going to save image. And I am going to save it to my bullying folder. Okay. Because this kind of fits what I want to do. It's close up because my pictures are close up, the lockers are close up, so the scale is going to be relatively the same. Okay, so we're going to do this first in Photoshop. So some of you have computers already, so we're going to do them both. So this video is for Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so let's start with our poster. Okay, and then we can kind of go from there. Okay, so I'm going to fire up Photoshop. Okay, and we will kind of get started on here. Okay, okay, so I'm going to pick, I have some other files open on here from before, so I don't want to. Actually, I can show you something similar that I already did, but we'll, kind of show you where we started. So this was from a previous lecture, but this is the poster that I did. And if we refer back, there's some very specific things that I want you to do with this poster. So let's go back again to the marketing project. And if we scroll here, here's the important part right here. Specific things you need to do for your poster. It has to be 11 by 17, which is tabloid size. That's the fancy term for it. The resolution is 150 dots per inch. That's how, when you print the document, how many dots the inkjet printer would use to make the image. And your images, should have images that you took. And the poster must have your slogan or tagline. We talked about that already, and it's related to Safe to Say. A link to the website and the phone number and the app. So you could just as easily use this image here, and you've met all the requirements. But if you want to come up with your own stuff, you're more than welcome, to type up the phone number by hand, use different colors, it's entirely up to you. But I did provide you with that information. So let's see what I kind of came up with yesterday here. I found the logo. Don't forget, if you go into the Schoology folder for this assignment, I gave you some logos. But here's one here. I put the Safe to Say in here. I put this here. I came up with my slogan, don't be bullied by a bully. It's not my most creative work, but it's something I came up with. Here's another one. Step up and stand up. Give us a call. And this is like me bullying someone in the hallway. So this is a great way to take a look as a good idea where to go with your poster. You can also go all the way up here to the lectures page. Okay. And if you scroll down to the bottom, okay, there's some great stuff in here. Actually, go a little bit higher up. There is a great little video right here. Poster design tips. There you go. Tells you everything you need to do to make a nice poster. If you've never made a poster before, this is great to use as a resource, okay? So there you have it. So let's jump on over to Photoshop. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to create a new document. So I'll go File, New, and this window is going to come up here, New Document. And here's the cool part. You can go Photo, Print, Web, Mobile, and all these pre-sized templates are on here. Obviously, we're going to make a poster, so we're going to go with Print. And you can see letter, legal, tabloid. So if I click on tabloid and I look over here, it's already done, 11 by 17. And you can do what's called portrait or landscape, okay? Landscape is this way, portrait's this way. So we want to go either up and down or side to side. I'm going to do a traditional up and down, so we'll call that vertical or portrait, and then the other one is a landscape or horizontal. Now, I'd like to change the resolution to 150 because 300 is big, and that's if you're actually sending this out to have it printed, which I'm not. So this is more than fine for what I need. Don't forget to put your name in there. So I'll just do my initials, underscore. I'm doing bully at. Okay, just for now. Make sure I spell bully right. Okay, so I'm going to hit create. Here is my blank page. So now I want to start dragging all my assets over, okay? So I go into the bullying folder and I'm going to say to myself, I'm going to use this picture here of me yelling. So I'm going to click and I'm going to drag it over, okay? So now I have this picture of me on a green background. So how could I get rid of that? There's a couple different ways. You can double click right here. Now you may see this little thing right here on the bottom corner, this little page thing. And this, when you drag things over, it becomes what's called a smart object. I'm not a fan. I like to do what's called rasterizing your smart object. So you hit rasterize layer. You can actually go into Photoshop and your preferences in general. And if you take a look right here, always create smart objects when placing, I turn that off. As you can see, I already did that. Okay, so now I can work with this image. So I can use the magic wand. I can click and I can hit delete and it starts to get rid of the background. Now, if you look up here, it's what's called your tolerance. The higher the number, the more it's going to grab. So let's go crazy and say 70. So see how much it took before? Let's do it again. So now I'm going to click here. Look how much more it took, but you got to be careful because my hair is, picking up some of that, background. So if you can start clicking. Well, if I hold the shift key, right? So let's go back down to 30. I'm going to hold my shift key, and then you can actually add to your selection, as you can see. Okay, I accidentally clicked out of the frame, but that's okay. Okay, got that. And I'm really kind of getting in there and getting as much as I can. Now, if you click too much, you can hold the Option key and see the little minus shows up. And you can say, well, I want to keep this part. Okay, so let's see what happens if I hit delete. Okay, now this is, real quick down and dirty type of thing because I don't want to be here all day. And I'm sure you don't want to sit here all day and watch, but you can go in and soften up the image with things like the eraser. You can right click and make the size smaller. You can go around and really soften that up when you put me in the background, okay? Which isn't, too difficult to do. You can also start all the way back from the beginning, okay? And you can use just the eraser tool. It takes a little bit more time, personally, but you can sit here and erase what you want, okay? As you can see, it takes forever. Not the best way to do it. You can also use your selection tools. Lasso, polygon lasso tool, where if you sit here and go click, 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 I'm just doing it really fast, where I can click and then, reverse my selection and delete it, and there's just my head, okay? But, just some quick, easy ways. You may not need to do this. I did it because I shot it on a green background and because I wanted to take myself out and put it in an environment. If you're fortunate enough to shoot it in your room or shoot it at a school, you're not going to need to do that, okay? But as you can see, and I'll jump to the end, I dragged myself over, cleaned it up a bit, and I used the picture of the locker. So you can go in, if you look at these corners too, you can go and resize it, okay? You can even distort. If you hold, your best friends in Photoshop, Illustrator, all those programs are using the Control key, the Option key, and the Command. So just mess with it. I'm going to click on this corner, hold the Command key, see what you can do. Makes you a little seasick there, but you can stretch, distort, make it look like I'm even more angry, but just by clicking on those points. And you can always go back. If you go to your window, go to history, you don't have to worry about making mistakes because you can just go back in time. And here's my history palette. And I can actually go step by step by step back in time. See? If I scroll down here, every single thing that I've done is here. See what I did? So this is me starting from the beginning, okay? I dragged the logo, the picture, here's me. I did that magic wand to clean things up. I dragged my white logo and deleted all the white out of the background, as you can see. If we go back here, okay, it all started with this image. But as we go through, you can see I dragged my picture over, I resized it. I used my type tool, which is right over here, okay? And I just typed in, and you can see the red's hard to read. I started making it all caps. I started to change the colors to match the app itself. Safe to say is blue and pink. So I actually darkened the lockers with what's called the burn tool. See what I did? I went on the layer, and layers are a very, very big deal. Here's the layers, okay? Every time you drag something over, it becomes what's called a layer, okay? So you have to be very aware of what layer you're actually working on. Here's my background. I'm gonna turn all this stuff off, okay? Here's my background, here's my lockers. Then I drag me, then I drag me again, and I like this picture better. Then I drag this, then I drag that, and then I went and turned this guy off. And here's my poster. But if I want to go and darken this background over here, I have to make sure I'm on that proper layer, and I use my burn tool and I darken the background so you can really read that poster, okay? So now you have all these different layers. Here's my text layer. I use the text tool, I clicked, and then if you look up here, here's all the different type. Here's all the, regular, italic, what size, what color. You can do so many different things, and you can resize all that stuff there, okay? You can go in and pick whatever color that you want for your type so it stands out, okay? So get rid of that. But really, that is kind of how you're supposed to put your poster together. And it's not a very difficult process if you have a game plan. You have to really kind of think about what you're doing. Now, here's the important part. When you are done, how do I export things out? Well, this has all these layers. So you're going to have to flatten it, right? So the first thing you want to do is save what you have in Photoshop. So you hit Command and the letter S. And a window is going to pop up and say, Save As. It's going to have what's called a .psd on the end. That stands for Photoshop document because it has all those layers. You cannot upload a layered file to the internet because if you do, it's not going to show up properly. The internet doesn't use Photoshop. Plus, you need Photoshop to open it. But we still want to save the original with all the layers in case I tell you and give you feedback and say, move this, change this color, do that. You want to be able to go in and change all that stuff. So you can go here and we'll go back to the desktop, to the bullying folder, okay? And I'm going to go and give it that name that I already had in there, so it's going to be FM bully, okay? So I'm going to hit save. See Photoshop document, hit save. So now here's the important part. Please remember this. So now you want to be able to upload and give this to me. So how are you going to do that? You're going to go in and you're going to go layer and you're going to flatten it. Now watch what happens to your layers window. Flatten. Boom. All gone. Okay? But the problem with that is you can't change it anymore. You can't click on anything and move it around anymore. Okay? So you don't want to save it just like this because then you can't go in and make any modifications. So now you want to save it as something else. You want to save it as something else. You go File, Save As. And this is where we start getting into and talking about file formats down the road. You click here. Look at all these different formats. Well, JPEG is the most common. So we're going to save this as a JPEG. You go JPEG, see how it says .jpg? And then you'll actually notice the bullying one, the PSD, is right there. So I'm going to hit save. This window comes up. I just do standard 12, the highest possible quality. You hit OK. All right. So then if I go in, okay, and close this stuff out, I'm going to save that and get rid of all this stuff. Now look, I have two posters. One, look how big it is. It's 44 megabytes. That's pretty big. It's like 10 MP3 songs. But this is that layered one. If I double click, there's all my different layers. See, I can go in, turn them all on and off. Okay. And then here's my JPEG. I double click and I open it up. It actually opens up in Apple's program, the preview app. But there's my flattened poster, but I can't move or do anything with it. Okay. But that's the one you're going to upload to Schoology. Okay. If you have any questions, just let me know. I hope this was helpful. Once again, this is how to grab all your stuff together and create your poster in Photoshop and save your documents out. And there you go.